And remember to pause first.
There, she can take it out now. That was for our producer. She'll be so happy to hear that. All right. Hello, everybody. I'm excited to be here today. Thank you for joining us. My name is Allison Mancini. I am your holistic nutritionist.
And I'm Julietta, the magical PT. Welcome to our Voices of the Goddess podcast. And in this podcast, we empower, uplift, and support women in becoming the goddess they are meant to be.
Yes. And so we are very excited because we have a special guest with us today, coming all the way from Idaho, right?
Oh,
Iowa.
Iowa.
I told Julietta, I'm like, I don't know, it's Idaho or Iowa. I don't know why I can't keep
potatoes for Idaho, corn for Iowa.
Okay, Iowa. So Vanette, please introduce yourself. Tell our audience who you are, what you do, where you're from, all that good stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And first of all, thank you, ladies, for asking me on today. I'm a new friend of Julietta's, but have known Allison for a while now, and talk about fantastic people. So glad that you all are doing this podcast. So thank you very much. So I'm Vanette Grover. I am from Iowa, where I am a farm wife, a life coach, an online business strategist, and a brand rep for a health and wellness company, and always looking at that next thing that I might add to my income stream, because I try to listen in here because he gives it to me. Whatever he puts in here is where I go.
Awesome. Thank you. So Vanette and I actually know each other through Kimberly Olson, who is also the Gold Digger Girl, which Kimberly was a guest of ours a few weeks ago. So thank you for coming on here. All right. So we are going to start with our questions. Are you ready, Vanette?
Yeah, make them easy.
I think we need to start using like Jeopardy music or something for like
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Do I have to answer in the form of a question? Are you giving a statement or?
Oh, that would be funny.
What is? Okay. All right.
Well, I'm going to start that way. What is your superpower, or what would it be if you had a superpower?
Ooh, that's a good one. What is seeing others' purpose before they do?
Ooh.
That is my superpower. I love meeting with people, getting a handle on them, their life, learning a little bit about their experience, and then I'm able to say, oh my gosh, you've got it all right here. Because superpowers, they're not something you have to go out looking for, ladies. Superpowers are gifted to you upon creation. I like to say he whatever your belief system, mine is following my God, but he folded it up nice and tidy. And he placed it in here so that I could discover it when the time was right. You know, far too often we look out there. We're looking outside of ourselves. We're looking at everybody else. We're looking at all the stuff, thinking that's going to give us what we need, or who we're supposed to be, or I'm supposed to act like, be like, as if, when it's in here. And it's more about the discovery process. So I love helping people with the discovering process, discovering their strengths and superpowers, which is the term I use when I work with them.
She's very good at it too. I can tell you that from experience. Yes.
So when we get someone on the show that's not really clear what their power is, now we know that we refer them to Vanette.
There you go. Here I am. Oh, I just love doing that. Love, love, love it.
But I like how you said, and so often we do look to other people. We look at, oh, what's she doing? What's she doing that I can do like her? What can I do like this one, like that one? And the reality is that we are gifted in our own superpower, and we need to focus on that and not worry about all that's going around us.
Yes, totally. And here's a little hint for everybody. Your superpower doesn't have to be this great, novel, fantastical thing. Your magic is in bringing yourself out. It's in being you. So when I love, that's the other part of what I do. And I help people see that, just be you. In being you and bringing forth all your perfect imperfections, that is your gift to the world, because that's what draws people to you like a magnet. because they're like, oh, me too. I have that too. Oh, I'm that way too.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, she's talking about stuff that I can identify with. And look at where she is now. I'm where she was a few steps back.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just learned how to be her, how to be, so the whole being you thing is huge, especially in this day and age of so much noise, not just in social media, on the airwaves, everywhere. Noise everywhere. So to break through the noise, to find your voice and bring it forth it's spectacular.
Yeah. And I think, Julietta, we talk about this a lot. And I don't know where I first heard this. And it could have been from Kimberly, or it could have been from one of Kimberly's coaches that I first heard this, or it could have been a long time ago. I don't know. But Julietta and I talk about this. You are gifted in what you do, and you say things in a way that only certain people are going to hear it. Juliette and I could be talking about the same thing, but it may not come across exactly the same to Vanette based on how we say it, if it speaks to her or not. You know what I mean? There's so many, it's that perspective. We forget all the time that everyone's perspective is different. What Julietta and I see is not always the same, even though we may be looking at the same bookshelf, right? We could be seeing it a totally different way. Yeah.
Totally, because what we don't know is there's people out there we're meant to impact. It's already, there's things that have been predetermined that we're meant to impact. But if we hold ourselves back and don't put ourselves out there, our true self, so they have a chance to, again, be pulled toward us, we're not just doing ourselves a disservice, we're doing them a disservice.
Yeah, we talk about, sometimes we ask people to be on the show and they're like, no, I can't do that. What would I have to say? And it's like, everyone has something special to share with the world. And so I've said this before, and I will say it again. If I ask you to be on the show, just say yes.
So true. So true.
Well, and it's fun. I mean, my gosh, it's just the three of us. It's not like there's going to be thousands of people. No. Really, when you do it initially, it's just like hanging out for coffee.
Exactly. Well, listen, I was thinking about it today. I was like getting some work done.
I was tea, not coffee, but
right. I was doing all kinds of different things, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be so nice. I just get to hang out with some girlfriends and chat for the afternoon. That's kind of how I thought about it. I was like, this is
exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I think it's time for question 2.
Okay, well, let's move along. Question 2, Vanette. What one book has most influenced you in your life? And if you can't pick one, we get it, but try to pick one.
All right. One is a devotional. I'll be honest. While I'm a woman of faith, I didn't really get in the habit of devotionals until maybe a year and a half ago, and that has really upped my game in the morning. Now, I know I'm not supposed to say another one, but I am, because this one's been huge with coaching as well, which I believe Gabby Bernstein, I think it's Super Attractor. Does that sound right? That's one of her titles. About a year and a half ago, I was on a road trip to where I met Kimberly, actually, up in Michigan, and I listened to that as I went. That book was huge in helping me see, because I'm a person, I'll be honest, I'm a person that through my adult life, I've had bouts of depression and the blues, and, so many of us do. It's blown my mind once I started talking about it, how many people do. Been fortunate over the last 5 years to be out of that cycle. Yet there's still times you get little mini bouts, right? Mini bouts of, and it's all the fears and uncertainty and overwhelm and all this stuff. What I learned in Super Attractor is that, there's a whole spectrum of feelings we have. And as you all know, feelings start with your thoughts. Everything starts with a thought. So when you can learn to catch a thought, I'm going to go a couple different directions here. Let's start with the feelings, the spectrum of feelings. She talked about, I don't know, something like 30 or 50, I don't know how many feelings. And it's easy on, in social media, and if you're in, kind of direct sales or some of that, you listen to leaders and they're talking about just flip the switch. If you're down, just flip the switch. Just show gratitude and jump to the great feeling, right? She laid it out that you can't just jump all the way. You can't jump 30 feelings. What you can do, though, is jump one. You can catch the thought or feeling and say, okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me see where I don't want to be so I can select the next best thought. So the whole idea of selecting the next best and working your way up, well, on this thing, maybe it's the other direction to be up. I don't know. But of selecting that next best has been really big for me. And as an example, there were times, let's say even 2 years ago, that if I got into that overwhelmed state or that insecure state or, oh, maybe I'm just not made for this. Maybe I'm not, you start telling yourself all the stories. I was sitting in that place for weeks or even months at a time. Back in the old depressive days, I could be there months to years at a time. But here's what's happened. I now focus on grabbing that thought or that feeling, working my way up. But the goal now is to shorten the time I'm there. It's not going to go away. It's not like you're never going to get in that insecure, fear-based, overwhelmed state. But boy, I'm going to grab it. I'm going to acknowledge it. And my goal now is to be there hours versus days. I've got it down where, anywhere 1 to 3 hours, I can be there, get through it, get over it, versus spending 1 to 3 days or 1 to 3 weeks. Oh, that's huge. So when you can grab onto those things that you can tangibly put to use, that's one that's been huge.
I have not read that book yet, so I'll be adding that to my list. Julietta, I'm going to need a whole room for all the books I keep having to add to my list, but it's all good.
Your next house must have a library.
There you go. So what I appreciate you bringing to light is the aspect of depression, because I myself have also dealt with depression and anxiety over my lifetime. I think it really initially started probably when I was pretty young. When I look back on it, I don't think realized that's what it was. But now that I know, and I've been a parent and I've seen it, I can recognize it in myself when I was younger. Probably in my teens is when it really started. And then it really kind of hit its really heightened part in my 20s. And then I had kids and I had horrible postpartum depression.
Yeah.
But I think that I like how you put that, is the learning how to stop yourself and listen to what you're saying to yourself. And I just did it the other day. In fact, I did it about this podcast. I was like, I had this moment of, what am I doing this? I'm not good enough to be doing this podcast. I literally did. After we've had 30 plus episodes, that's what I was doing to myself. And I'm out walking the dog and I don't know, I got maybe 10, 20 yards and those thoughts are going in my head. And I was like, wait a second. What am I doing to myself? Of course this podcast is fabulous. You're impacting so many women. I was almost in my head, I was smacking myself upside the head, pull yourself together. But I couldn't have done that either back in my 20s. And I don't really know, for me, it's been a long process, but I'm definitely going to check out her book. I love Gabrielle Bernstein. I think she's wonderful. So, but thank you for sharing that, because I think a lot of women, we see each other in the social media light and we don't see the side that what we're talking about right now. Like you just said, you've dealt with depression. I've dealt with depression. People don't I don't generally talk about it. It's not because I'm hiding it. It just doesn't come up in conversation, I guess, usually. So
yeah, because I don't know how it is for others or, for you, Allison, but I wore a mask for years. I've got the happiest of husbands, the happiest of kids. So I wore the quiet but happy mask. And in 2016, that mask started cracking because friends started stepping forth and saying, what's going on? And that's after years of the cycles anyway. But the anxiety got added to it, I think. And that it was hard to mask. It's hard to mask anxiety. It's hard.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to cover that up.
Yeah.
And just so important to share it because, so many women are walking around with masks on and hiding what's going on. And when we know that other people are experiencing the same thing, there's comfort in that, and we can help and support each other instead of, we're sitting there going, I got to figure this out myself. Well, no, if I share, other women can reach out and help me as well and support us. That's why we're here. So
absolutely. And then when we start talking about it, I'll just jump in, whatever. But when we start talking about it and we start recognizing it, that's also when we can start putting into place those checks. So for me, I know if I'm feeling it, first thing I do is I send a text to my husband just saying, "Hey, just letting you know I'm in that spot. This is what I'm feeling." And he knows now. He's so good at it. He knows what kind of a pump me up message to send back to me. I mean, 20 years ago, he would have said, "Put your big girl pants on and get to work." No, he now knows that will help. So that's one thing. Number two is if, depending on the situation, if I have, there's a close friend or two I can reach out to just to say, "Hey, talk me through this." Third one, I go live on Facebook. I use it as my confessional. I will go live and say, "Hey, I know some of you are probably feeling this too." Yeah. And when I go live as my confessional, boom, that's a huge breakthrough, because then people start coming, "Oh my gosh, that is just what I needed to hear. Oh, I had no idea you had that too. Oh, this was perfect." Well, that then brings gratitude. Because when you bring gratitude to the picture, "Oh my gosh, I'm thankful I did this so I could help that person." And that person saying thank you. All the gratitude flushes all that darkness away. And when we're in the dark spot, I always called it the dark hole, you don't see the gratitude. You don't see the blessings before you. You can't do it until you hit that spot that you're like, "All right, no more." And then you figure out the
I've
way stuff.
seen you do that on social media. That's a really great idea. I love it.
Now you know. Now you know.
Okay, now I'm going to see those and I'm going to be texting you and be like, "Vanette, are you okay today?"
You are welcome to check on me.
Okay. All right.
You know my tell. You know my tell.
Question number 3. So this is one thing that we really are encouraging our audience, because we find so often we are the last ones we take care of. The last person we take care of is ourselves. But it's so, so important as women that we are doing all these things. So what is your favorite self-care practice, Vanette?
Besides summertime, hopping into my inflatable kiddie pool that's on my deck, I try to do that almost daily, even if it's only for 15 minutes. Because, whatever. I have one. $25. One of those big retailers. We don't need to give them credit here, but besides that, I have recently learned that I've got to create silent time. When I totally turn everything off, and I learned it just a few weeks ago, because I said to my husband on a Friday night, I was going to a horse show with him, and I said, "All right, tomorrow I'm going to do my best not to work." And he looked at me and he said, "Well, good luck with that, because you haven't not worked in a year and a half." So this is rather new, but I took the day and had lots of silent time, and I had no idea how many God nudges, sparks of the brain, all of the things I'd been missing out on because I hadn't been quiet enough to hear them. So that is my latest and greatest self-care tool, silence.
So I just started this weekend of going tech free on Sundays. I didn't quite make it. The beginning of the day was a rough start. Julietta can attest to that, as I messaged her some stuff regarding the podcast. But then I did. I only used my phone to talk to my children by text or by phone. That was it. I didn't do any social media. I set everything up ahead of time. I scheduled things out on my social media, so everything was there. But I took the rest of the day on Sunday, and can I tell you, it was so wonderful. It was wonderful to just be present with my family, in my home. I was just kind of hung out. I read a lot. I watched a fun movie with my daughter. We ate popcorn. I took the dogs for a walk. It was so nice. So although I wasn't in total silence, I did go tech free, and that was pretty fun. And I'm going to start doing it every Sunday.
Awesome. What do you do, Julietta? Well, am I allowed to ask a question?
We'll allow it, but So, and like, there I am getting called out again, because at the beginning when we started this, I said my favorite self-care is me getting on my treatment table. I don't know if you know, Vanette, I'm a physical therapist, but it says it right, it's under my name. I'm the magical PT. So I'm very non-traditional, and I have a special treatment bed that is, it has 2 speakers attached under it, and so healing frequencies and music come through the table. And then I have a biomat on top of it, so it has infrared crushed amethyst crystals and negative ions. And I was like, every day that I come to work, so Monday through Friday, I was coming in early and getting on the table myself every day. And confessionals, I haven't been doing it, and I need, like, this is my takeaway. I need to get back on my table. So, yeah, I love that, and I need to get back to it.
Her table is awesome. I can attest to that. And last time I was there, I didn't even lay on it. Next time I got to remember to do that. It was awesome. Okay.
We'll do it 1-to-1 and you can lay on the bed.
Okay, fine. We'll do that. Okay. Question number 4. So this question comes out of actually a lot of research. When we decided we were going to dive into this world of podcasting, and we had this idea about lifting up and empowering and supporting women, we did a lot of interviews. And one of the things that kind of kept reoccurring theme with a lot of women was they struggle with accountability. They're always looking for accountability. So for you in your life, because if you caught that in the beginning, Vanette does a lot of different things besides being a farmer's wife and being a coach. And she has her own, she's with a wellness brand. So she does a lot of stuff. So how do you hold yourself accountable? Or how do you find accountability in your daily life?
That is probably one of the biggest things for all of us, isn't it? With the work I do with the Gold Digger brand, I have metrics I have to meet. So it's funny, those I will get met. For my other businesses, they may sometimes move to that next day, because I have to determine. Now, I don't know if you heard my doorbell just dinged off. I feel like that was divine timing. Saying, hello, Vanette. Yeah, you've been missing out right there. So I have a special needs daughter, Breton, and she helps me get some of the smaller tasks done for all of these things. And we were just talking the other day, because she's like, Mom, I want to do more. I want to do more. And so I've actually been trying to think how I can bring her into even more of the things where I'm just missing the bar a little bit, because I'm like, oh, if we can just get caught up to where I want to be, then, it's all simplified. But accountability to me, and I don't like admitting this, it's tied to integrity. So when someone else is depending on me, my integrity comes forth, and I'm like, yep, got to get that done. But here's something I learned, and this is the part I really don't like to admit. Self-integrity. I had a coach that taught me about self-integrity. And because he asked, are you a person of integrity? Well, of course. Anything I tell someone I do, I will do. I get it done. He goes, well, what about yourself? I noticed that last week that homework I gave you didn't get completed. I'm like, well, but everything for everybody else I get done. He's like, Vanette, if you can't have the integrity to do it for yourself, are you really getting everything else done for everybody else that you think? Oh, that hit me like in the gut. And I'm like, I started thinking about little things like with the family that I said I'd do, or with my kids that maybe I'd put them off a little bit. And I'm like, crap, where is my integrity at? So I need to up my self-integrity game. Do I get all the must-haves done? Of course. But if I want to look really close, that's an area we probably all can improve on, but not to put it on everybody. For Vanette, yeah, I need a little more kick in the seat of the pants right there. Because if I were getting it done, I'd get more of that silent time that I know by.
Okay, so we're going to go right into takeaways.
There did I? And it's like, oh, she's not as accountable as she wants.
No, you were just, no, I'm just taking a look at my own self and I'm like, hey, okay, I got to work on that self-integrity. Holy cow.
It's a wake up, isn't it? When you're like,
Yeah.
oh, really? It counts for me?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
It's a big wake up. All right, Julietta, what's your takeaway?
So my takeaway is that I need to have more self-integrity in getting myself on my table.
There you go. And my takeaway is also the self-integrity, see, Vanette. But this is what I was thinking, because I'm listening to you, and I'm very good, and I hope Vanette would agree with this. I'm very good about getting things done for other people. If I say that I'm going to do it, I'm going to get it done. If I can't get it done, or something happens, or I make a mistake, I own up to it. I have that conversation. But I'm really good about other people's stuff. It's the stuff that I want to do for me. Like, for example, the course that I want to create that's been sitting there waiting to be created for months that has not gotten done. That's what I need to do. So I need to up my game with myself and get my, you know what, in gear and get this course completed. So that is my takeaway. Thank you for that, Vanette. Vanette, what is your takeaway?
So glad I could be helpful to do it.
That's why we do this. It's all about us.
Truly, you made me get back to reflecting on what's probably been, it's maybe been 3 weeks now, not just 2, where I created that day of silence. And granted, not that a person needs a day maybe all the time, but why not? Why not? So I need to get back to silent time. That's my
all right. This has been really great. Thank you so much, Vanette. I knew that this would be totally rich and full of amazing nuggets. So, Julietta, would you like to close us out?
I would. And thank you, Vanette, for coming on. It has been wonderful having you here. And I'm sure our audience will really love this episode. And all of you out there, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for listening. And if you like what you heard, please share us with your friends and like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. You'll find us on YouTube's and all the podcast platforms. And all the information from the show, you'll find it in the comments or the show notes. And it'll be easy for you to get in touch with any of us if you need to, or use the resources that were brought up in today's episode. I wish you all a magical day.
Thank you, ladies.
Bye. Thanks, Vanette.